Hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to something I haven't done in bloody ages. It's a GT Sport rally setup. Now, it's not that I've chosen not to do these, it's just that none of the updates have really had any cars that have excited me that much when it's come to setting them up on the dirt. And to be completely honest, this one didn't really excite me either. However, I didn't even realise there was a rally option for this car until I was messing around this morning with various cars in the garage, and I saw it there. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to go out and give this one a go. And I'm really glad I did. So I figured I'd put this video together just in case any of you guys are in the same boat as me and just skipped straight past this one when it came to a dirt setup. That way you can see what I'm talking about, and hopefully you'll have as much fun as I've been having with it over the last few hours. Now, typically in the past, whenever I've done a GT Sport rally setup, so I've followed two different formats that I'd come up with in the first place. The first being a very basic one, which was just to get the fastest lap time you possibly could around Sardinia, and then put it onto a leaderboard against the other cars and obviously show you which one was best by doing it that way. The second sort of format that I came up with was actually a versus kind of episode, and I've done a few of these where the cars are very similar to one another, so they work very good as a one-on-one comparison. However, with this particular car, it doesn't really fall into either of those categories for me, so I haven't been able to do that. All the cars that did feature on the leaderboard that I was talking about just a second ago are all four-wheel drive vehicles. They've also got considerably more power than this particular car, so it's not fair to put it on that board because you're just going to think it's inferior, and I guess to a degree it is, but you've got to bear in mind that the Crown Athlete is only rear-wheel drive. It's never going to be able to keep up with those cars, and equally it does have some power, but it's certainly not on that kind of scale. And in terms of a versus, I haven't actually played around with too many rear-wheel drive cars within the game with rally setups, so I haven't been able to really come up with anything straight away for you. However, I would love to hear down in the comment section if you think there is any specific cars within the game that would be a great rival to this in terms of an off-road setup, and then I will put together a versus video for you guys, pitting that one against this. But let's actually get back to the car that we're talking about today. So the Crown Athlete, as I've said before, is rear-wheel drive, so it can be quite tail-happy on the loose stuff. Now, if you watch me here on the channel, you know that I do a lot of drifting on GT Sport, and for me this is actually quite a nice feeling car due to the fact that it is so tail-happy. Now, the setup that I've come up with today doesn't really hide the fact that the back end is loose. If anything, it actually makes it a little bit looser. Like I say, for me, I just find it easier getting around the corners. If the car is oversteering, I can point the front end where I want it to go. If it's understeering, it just becomes a bit more of a nightmare, and you tend to lose quite a lot of the speed that you're actually taking through the corner. So I definitely prefer to set it up this way. That being said though, what was really interesting about this car was the element of grip. Now, this is going to sound really counterproductive to what I've just said, but equally, it being a rear-wheel drive, you don't expect it to be able to put that power down particularly well. Yet somehow this car does manage to do that, and it feels really planted when you need it to be. There's no real surprises here. It slides when you expect it to, and it grips when you expect it to. So you have loads of confidence in it, and your lap times just come down and down and down the more you play with it. The biggest drawback for this one, like I said before though, is basically going to be the variation and type of vehicles within GT Sport itself. There's nothing really for it to go up against, so in terms of competitivity, if you took it online, anything like that, you're never going to keep up with the Group B four-wheel drive cars. Equally, it's going to be way too quick to go up against some of the older vehicles that are on show here. It's the same problem that loads of the VGT cars suffer with, so if you're looking for just a time trial car for you to mess around on your own with, or maybe go into lobbies with friends that are all running exactly the same car, it'll be perfect for that, but don't expect much more out of it. What I'll do now is take you straight over to my off-road setup for this car so I can show you exactly what I've come up with. So for this one, I have taken the power level as high as I possibly can. So you will need to take that to level 4 there and all the way up to 159%. And that's going to leave you 493 brake horsepower. Weight reduction wise, I've done the same again. So I've taken it all the way to level 4 there, dropped it as far as I possibly can, which is 83%. And that's still going to leave you a fair amount there at 1,369 kilograms. Now, the traction control for this build is set to 1. Obviously, you don't have to have that set to 1 at all. You can play with that and make it your own. It's just that every previous rally setup that I've ever done on this channel has had that set to 1, which is why I've left that exactly where it is. Now, dirt tyres will be needed. Obviously, they're both front and rear. The brake balance on this one is set to -1. It just helps that front end duck down a little bit and bring that rear end out in those corners when you really need it to. Ride height on the front is set to 170mm and the rear is the same at 170mm as well. The natural frequency is slightly different front to back here, so you got 1.7 on the front and 1.55 on the rear. The anti-roll bar I did play around with, but I ended up going back to exactly what it comes with there, so that's 7 on the front and 4 on the back. Compression I've got set to 59 and 59 and the rebound is set to 89, 89. Camber angle on the front is set to 2 and it's 1 on the back. And the toe angle is set out 0.4 on the front and in 0.4 on the rear. Downforce you can't play with on this build. Now the differential I have set to fully customised. I've got the initial torque there set to 10. The acceleration sensitivity is on 50 and the braking sensitivity is set to 20. And with the transmission, again, I've gone fully customised with that. I've set the max speed to 137 miles per hour and I've actually left all the gearing as it is once you do that. Now, the max speed does seem very low and it is quite low, but that is set up specifically for Sardinia, which is what I was using it on. If you're going to use any of the other tracks, you might just want to revisit this, but try and bring that down to around what you're going to be using on the longest part of the straight of any track, and then you should be good to go. As always, I really appreciate you coming past the channel today and checking out the video. If you've enjoyed what you've seen today, please make sure you subscribe. There's content like this coming out all the time. Also, as I said before, use that comment section down below to let me know if there's any good cars that will rival this one, and I will try and put a video together for that. But equally, just use that comment section if you want to just get in contact with me, or if you've got any other suggestions for different videos you would like to see here on the channel. If you want to support me here, please make sure you give the video a like. It really helps the channel grow every single time you do that. I'm going to leave you now with my fastest lap that I got this morning whilst mucking around with the car. I'm sure any of you would be able to beat this. There wasn't a huge amount of practice that went into it. However, like I said before, I had loads of fun with this car. I really hope you guys enjoy it too. Stay till the end if you want to see what that time was, and I'll see you all on the next one.